A hearty, delicious turkey chili with quinoa and all the good things that chili must have. It's delicious, it's easy, it's what you're gonna have for dinner because I think you're about to fall in love. Let's make it. There are endless chili recipes. All of them are good. I love every chili I have. This is a turkey chili, and it's gonna be somewhat standard with the additions of quinoa. I love quinoa in chili. I think it adds, it of course adds the protein, but it also gives it a nice thickness, which I like. And a turkey chili, to me, we do it sometimes. Some people think it's like a health reason, like turkey is lower in fat, high protein. That's a great reason to do it, but it's also just, I like ground turkey, and I like to use all the different meats, and I think we should vary everything we eat. So this is gonna start with ground turkey. And we're gonna put that right into a little bit of oil in a Dutch oven here that I'm gonna make the whole soup in. And the reason I have some oil in there is because turkey doesn't have a lot of fat. And so the oil is just gonna help it make sure it cooks up, gets a little bit of flavor, and browns nicely. The meat is pretty much brown, so I'm getting the vegetables ready, which for me, I'm cleaning out the garden. So I used what I still had. I still have bell peppers in the garden. And I like, if you follow me, you're gonna notice I don't use bell pepper a lot in recipes. There's certain ones I like it in, but I'm not a huge bell pepper fan, especially raw. But this is one where it gives a nice clean pepper flavor without the spice. It just has a nice flavor, and I like it in a chili. Especially a turkey chili where the turkey doesn't have a strong flavor. So we can add some of the flavors other places. So we have some green, and I did a yellow too because I just like the color. And now I'm gonna grab some of all of it, and we're gonna take all this over and start putting it in with our turkey. And we're gonna let that cook together for a little bit. The reason I like to cook it together is because it actually starts softening the vegetables. At the end, I still want you to notice there's vegetable, but I don't want them just to be mush. So I like them to cook for a while, and while I have them in here, I'm gonna add some salt. I like to make sure there's salt in there because that seasons it all. And then we're gonna let this cook and we'll keep going. So this has been cooking and it's just softening the vegetables a little bit, which is kind of a nice place to be at. And what we're gonna start with is the spices. So I like to put spices directly into the fat like this. So a little bit of oil with the meat before I put in all the liquids of the soup. So I'm gonna start with chili powder because it's chili. And a good blend, just buy a good blend that you like and it's gonna be good. They all vary slightly. We're gonna put in some oregano. If you can find Mexican oregano, that to me, you can't beat Mexican oregano. It can be harder to find in the spice aisle, but my goodness, if you do, it will take your chili up a notch. It's so good. And a little bit more cumin. So there's cumin in chili powder, but when you add more, it just does more. And then a couple bay leaves. Now guys, bay leaves, I know some people are like, bay leaves have no flavor. Not true. First thing, I think the dried ones in the grocery store, they can have sat there for maybe years and they don't have any flavor. But I have a small bush that I bring in over the winter, but you can also buy fresh bay leaves now, usually in the spice aisle or in the herbs with the fresh herbs. And they do have flavor. It's that underlying flavor that you don't know is there, but if it's missing, you know it. So now what I wanna do is add everything else. So I have some drained and rinsed red kidney beans. It's an icon in a soup, especially chili, and that to me is just essential. Some diced tomatoes, and these you're gonna notice are fire roasted. Fire roasted ones just add extra flavor to certain things, and with chili, it really complements the flavors already, so I like to add that. I always add, this is a family thing we always do, we can tomato juice, but it's a nice thick pulpy tomato juice, and we add it to all of our chilies. You can purchase tomato juice, and that's what I would use. It amps up that tomato flavor, and it really is just delicious. And then with that, a little bit of chicken stock. If you want to leave the turkey out and do a vegetable stock, that is just fine. And we need those liquids because now what we're going to pour in is our quinoa. And we're going to let all this just cook together. That's the beauty of it. And the quinoa will plump up. It will thicken, obviously, but it's going to be delicious. So I'm going to cover it, let it simmer, and we'll have soup. So this has been cooking away, smelling wonderful. And it just looks good. I love chili. I love when you can have it just on the stove on a cold day. You want to feel cozy. This is what you do. This is what my mom would always have on the stove. And look how beautiful. It gets nice and thick and rich. I want to take out the bay leaves. They've done their thing. And I know some of you are gonna say, I never use them. Then don't, but I just think they're good. I do think it does something. But look how beautiful that is. You have the quinoa and it just thickens it. And if you don't like quinoa, you won't really notice it's there, just because of the consistency of it, but it really does add a really nice, a healthy fat, a healthy protein for us. And it just does a nice thick number on it, makes it more almost stew-like chili. And then you can just serve it up. I mean, look at that beauty. That is just, I love that. And then I personally am someone, I like something cooling, so you could put sour cream. I will always put some avocado on it. I love avocado. It's one of my favorites. To have a little bit of creaminess on top, but then it's ready to go. Obviously it's steaming hot, so I will burn myself now. I'm joking. It's delicious. What I love is, okay, I'm just actually getting more flavors of it. What I love is how well balanced it is. You have the pepper flavor come through, you have the diced tomatoes that have kind of that tomato forward flavor, but then that tomato juice we added for really the base of the soup. It's such a good undertone of tomato. The turkey just adds some great protein and picks up all the flavors of the spices we put in. And all of that just comes together for a really delicious, hearty chili. It may be good for you, but it's also just delicious for you, which is good for your soul. So what do I hope you do with this? As always, you know I say it, I hope you share these videos around because that helps me, of course, but it helps everyone else see if I can do this, anybody can do this. You can make good quality, wholesome food at home. It's possible, it's doable. Check my website, wiseguide.com, for this recipe and all my other recipes, also in the video description. Until next time, have something delicious. You deserve it.